What's up, guys? It's Bolt, and I'm back with another Remnant 2 build guide. And in this video, we're going to go over my RAILHOLE monorail wormhole spam build. And many of you guys saw the beta version of this build on my live stream. It was still being tweaked until we got to this right here, the final form. And it is absolutely monstrous, man. I am excited to bring this to you guys. First things first, let me just go over monorail. Some people consider it overpowered. Some people think it's a gimmicky, and I think it is in the gray area of potentially being overpowered because it does have a little bit of a skill ceiling in the sense that every time you fire a shot from the monorail, you are locked into position. You cannot dodge, you cannot move. It puts you in this recoil animation that's quite long. So if you choose your timing poorly when firing this weapon, you could be in a really, really bad situation. So that's number one in terms of the skill ceiling. And number two is when to let the trigger go. Now, if you do not have the mod activated, you're pretty much dead. If you shoot this gun, you will die. When the mod is activated, it decreases the chance of death exponentially. If you hold on the trigger too long, though, you can still die. And I've done it, still learning the weapon. It's quite, you know, kind of clunky in a sense to use. But I kind of like that. That's how it kind of balances itself out. You need to really pick when to shoot your shots and how to shoot. You need to get the timing down. So that's where the learning curve of the weapon is. But once you master this weapon, it is absolutely incredible, phenomenal, monstrous. It is every good adjective you could think of rolled into one because the damage is astronomical. Like 100k plus crits, etc., etc., etc. I cannot go on about how good the weapon is in terms of just sheer burst damage, but it lacks in mobbing. It is not a good mobbing weapon at all. So we needed to form a build, create a build that will make up for the weaknesses of the monorail. The monorail is a annihilator of bosses, annihilator of aberrations, and elites. But that's it. When you're swarmed with enemies, it sucks. So how do we get around that? Well, we're going to get right into this build right here. Well, first things first, we have the Invader slotted in first, and that is for the Shadow Prime perk. We will be spamming wormholes like nobody's business, and we need that decoy that the wormhole will leave for our number one, our defense, because we will be utilizing decoys as a form of defense because we are kind of glassy on this build. We don't have that much high of damage reduction. And number two, it is going to boost all of our attacks in that window after we exit out of the wormhole. Very important. And we generate this at around a 7 to 8 second cooldown with the setup that we have here. It's crazy. So just feel free to generously spam the wormhole. You will have it up pretty much indefinitely. So go around, like, just freaking teleport everywhere and get your damage in. Next, we have the Hunter slotted in second. And we want that weak spot damage, man. We want to make those monorail hits juicy as... oh, man. And we have the Hunter's Focus. So Hunter's Focus goes hand in hand with monorail because you have to hold down that charge shot for a little bit of a few seconds. So it'll activate Hunter's Focus. That's where we're going to get a huge amount of damage from. You could also use Hunter's Shroud if you need to be more defense oriented, or if you want to help your mobbing a little bit better, you could also use Hunter's Mark. All three Hunter skills are great on this build. You cannot go wrong with any of them. I prefer Hunter's Focus. I'm going for really big, juicy damage. I don't need the Hunter's Shroud because I am utilizing the wormhole. And as far as the Hunter's Mark is concerned, that is just, if you need to see the wall hacks, nothing wrong with that. The Amulet, you guys seen this in my Shotgun Quick Draw build recently. One of my favorite necklaces in the game in Short Circuit. When your shield is active, it increases our critical chance at critical damage by 10%. Amazing. But not only that, we get skill cooldowns are reduced by 6 seconds once every 5 seconds, as long as that shield is up. And the same combo that I had in my last build, we're utilizing it in this build, and that is utilizing the Insulator Mutator, which is another newcomer. And man, oh man, it is so good. And we're putting it on the Sure Shot. Insulator is if you spend 10% of the magazine, you get a shield for 25%. And every single shot of the Sure Shot is going to give us that 25%. Now, it'll last for 13 seconds, which is very generous. We can get several shots of monorail off in those 13 seconds with the trait that we have to extend the duration of our shield. Very important, just in case you miss a shot, because it is, you get the nerves, you get a little jittery when you're charging off that monorail. You want to get that weak spot, you want to land it perfectly, so you might miss a few rounds, just getting a little excited. So 13 seconds is a nice grace period to get shots, reload even, and get more shots off, and then switching back to short shot. I'll come back to short shot in a second, but let's go over the rest. Akari Warband, you guys are no stranger to this. On my builds, it's one of my favorite rings. It's one of the best rings in the game for that crit chance and crit damage. And we will have Akari Warband up indefinitely, the entire duration of this damn build. You will have this up because once you activate Wormhole counts as a perfect dodge all of the time. So you will have the Akari Warband buff active. Archer's Crest, because we want to get that charge speed on the monorail up quicker so we could get that juicy shot off quicker. Beautiful ring to have. This is another. All these rings are staples for this build. You need to have this. Next, Burden of the Rebel. Now you can swap this over for the other. I think it's Burden of the Stargazer if you decide to use a different relic. But we do need the 15% cooldown. That is going to help us spam our Wormhole even more. We're not even being affected by the burden on this particular ring because we are using the Tranquil Heart, which is passive regen, and we have some pretty damn good passive regen on this build, along with lifesteal in the form of the relic perk for the loophole. If somebody's not, if the enemies are not targeting you, you get a 7.5 base damage as lifesteal, which is crazy. Monorail's base damage is absurd, so you're going to be healing from 1 HP all the way to 100 HP with one shot. It's crazy. And then another, you're not stranger to this. This is probably one of the best damage rings in the game, if not the best. Probability Cord. We have a pretty decently high crit chance on it, so this is going to really give our monorail those huge freaking damages. You saw in the video how much damage we're doing on this. And we're not even fully spec'd into damage on this build. You guys see that we do have some utility here in the Burden of the Rebel and the Archer's Crest. And Short Circuit gives us a little bit of damage, but not quite fully spec'd into a glass cannon full-on DPS build that you see a lot of monorail builds have. And you guys don't see, which is popular amongst many current monorail builds, is the Leaking Gemstone to sustain the mod indefinitely. Newsflash, FYI, whatever you want to say, you do not need Leaking Gemstone to keep the monorail mod active. All you need is Insight and Spirit and a Fairy Needle. That is it. Insight and Spirit is more than enough, but Fairy Needle is just there, is even better. You use all three, you could have the mod up at all times, guys. Leaking Gemstone is not needed, so that just frees up even more ring space for us. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Back to the short shot now. Very important, guys. When you're shooting this thing, you want to manually reload. That means as soon as you shoot, after you fire the weapon, hit the reload button on your own. That'll reload the gun faster because you will be using the short shot as your main source of damage. I know this is a monorail build. I know. Remember, it's not great at mobbing. You're saving monorail for aberrations, elites, and bosses. That's it. You're going to be using the short shot like 90% of the time. No, maybe like 65, 75% of the time. Because other than that, we're going to go. This is where our mobbing woes have been saved. And thank you, Pro Man. You reminded me of this weapon. I completely forgot about it, and I don't know how. It used to be one of my favorite freaking melee weapons of all time. I did a build way back when with Invader and Spectral Blade when it was OP as hell. But man, Whirlwind is so good for mobbing. And when you use your Wormhole, it will proc the Opportunist Mutator. That means we're going to have a 100% crit chance with our charged melee attack with the Whirlwind. Everything's going to be deleted. No more woes when it comes to mobbing. Right there, this is your tool. When you get surrounded by enemies, you Wormhole and you Whirlwind. Wormhole, Whirlwind. Keep it moving, man. And then back to your short shot and laying down them shots. Down range, getting the weak spots. Even short shot goes very well with Wormhole as well for that big burst damage shot. It's a 330 base damage on the short shot you see right there. And Wormhole will boost that up very, very exponentially, getting those weak spots. And then the star of the show, guys, yes, the monorail. Man, oh man, is this weapon a hell of a lot of fun. We have the supercharger on there. That's going to allow us to charge it even faster. But on top of that, we get the 15% critical chance. And that's really what we want here. Again, I already explained to you guys, you got to really pick and choose when to use the weapon. You got to really pick and choose how long to hold that mod down. The recoil dampener. Once you get the hang of it, yeah, everything's deleted. That's it. You've seen it. You guys seen it in the video. I don't need to say anymore. On to the armor selection. Guys, this is a min-maxed armor selection, and on top of that, it looks cool. This is the best armor damage reduction that you could get for this weight class, for the medium weight, 49.2. And with the fortified trait, we don't have fully expectance to fortify. We have 42.6 damage reduction. But feel free to use heavier armor, lighter armor, whatever you're comfortable with, something that looks cooler, whatever the case may be. Whatever you guys want to do with the armor, that is always up to you. I am currently making builds that are very, very well suited, generalist, good at all situations for boss rush, because I know that is the most popular game mode right now. Everybody's grinding out boss rush, so I need to make it kind of min-max in a sense where you're going to be covered on all situations. So that's what my builds are aiming towards right now currently. And again, we're going back to the Relic, Tranquil Heart. We do have some passive regen on this build in the Prism, which I'll go over in a second. But if you want to use another relic, feel free to do that. I just recommend this because you will be getting quite a bit of lifesteal from the perk that Invader has and the Monorail and Short Shot. Onto the traits. Untouchable and Long Shot are the respective archetype traits. Triage, this is going to boost our relic, our Tranquil Heart heals. Potency, this is a controversial one. I know a lot of players do not like consumables. I am a consumable fanatic. I love spamming those things. The consumables in this game are quite powerful, so I love to take advantage of that, especially stuff like the haste one, Fairy Needle, Ghoul Serum, which is going to take care of your stamina woes. There are just so many good consumables to take advantage of, especially since we're kind of glassy on this build. I'll use the Sweet Leaf, I'll use Confidence Booster, but if for whatever reason you just do not like potency, spec into something else, maybe put more Fortify on or whatever your build needs. Fortify, we have leftover points. I just chose to put it to Fortify, so we're not as glassy, but, 42.6 DR. Not that great, but we have Wormhole to take care of our aggro and defense. Vigor, gotta max that bad boy out. Spirit, yes, we need that for the Monorail mod. Expertise, we need that for that cooldown. And on top of this, guys, very important, you're going to want to use the Xenoplasm concoction. This is what's going to give you that, when everything's all said and done with the short circuit, that's going to give you that 7 to 8 second cooldown on your wormholes. Chakra, because we want to keep that monorail out as long as we can. Very important. We also going to keep that corrosive rounds out as long as we can. Corrosive rounds is very important as well. This is going to give our debuff to the enemy, make our monorails do more damage. And also just make the short shot just more hit for more damage. Who doesn't love that? But if for whatever reason you are struggling with mobbing on this build, which you shouldn't because the Whirlwind will take care of everything with Wormhole, then feel free to put something like Song of Ephir on, Scrap Shot, anything that's going to be better for crowd control for your playstyle. Then we have Insight, very important for that passive mod regen. Will get further boosted by Spirit, and that's going to help us keep our mods up indefinitely, guys. Very important to have that. Preservation, this is for to keep that shield out longer. That gives us a few more extra seconds, and that's going to help us get off a couple of more shots of the monorail off. And also the shield is also a form of defense as well. We're going to have it up. Since we are a little bit glassy, that extra shield does come in handy. And that's all we have spec'd into our traits. Now let's go over this Prism right here. Now, for the fragments, you're going to have critical damage, range critical chance, very important to get those crits on monorail and the damage. We have more skill cooldown. This is very important to have because we want to get, again, we want that 7 to 8 second cooldown. For the single fragment on the Prism, we have the firearm charge time. This is to get the monorail charge out quicker. Remember, it's gonna combo with the Archer's Crest and the Supercharger Mutator as well. We have Revitalize as the fusion for health regen. Again, we are using the Tranquil Heart, so this is going to go hand in hand with that, with the Triage trait. And we have more skill cooldown, very important. Meta, this is exactly what it is. It's meta. We want that damage, baby. We want those monorails to hit insane. Let's go. Longevity, very important as well. Mod duration, skill duration. Not even for the skill duration. That's not important. This is the mod duration. I just added the skill duration because why the hell not? It's a fusion, so who cares? The mod duration is very important. This is going to keep our monolith mod out longer. And again, while your mod is out, you're still passively regenning with Spirit and Insight and Fairy Needle. Hopefully you guys will be using that. So we will have the mod up as soon as it's done. Very important. Munitions, crit chance, ammo reserves. Since we will be using this short shot quite a bit, ammo is a little bit of a problem sometimes, so ammo reserve is very important. But the main thing is the crit chance. And then, last but not least, the legendary sharpshooter. Of course, if for whatever reason you guys cannot roll sharpshooter, hopefully you guys can get Jackable Trades, Master Killer, anything like that. Even something like Immovable will be really good because you could just pop a Sweet Leaf, you'll be immovable, and you could just stand there and just get your shot off and nobody's going to interrupt your shot. You'll be immune to stagger, stuff like that. There's other legendaries that'll be quite useful for this build, so don't be sad if you do not get Sharpshooter. Plus, there will be some legendary rerolls in an upcoming patch, so if you do not get Sharpshooter, you can keep aiming to get it. But those are some alternatives that you can get if you do not have the RNG to get Sharpshooter. But at the very least, very important, you guys could absolutely build this with no issues. Just refer to my how to build the perfect Prism video that I will link at the end of this video. And on top of that, I will also link in the comment section, guys. If you are curious to see how this build performs mobbing, I will link it a full gauntlet completed, 19 bosses on Apocalypse difficulty. And it was completed in around 53 minutes and some change, so it was quite quick, even with this build. People think range builds are not really that efficient when it comes to clearing gauntlets. You know, skill builds and mod builds really could just wipe mobs so easily that the completion times are quite quick when it comes to gauntlets. But 53 minutes is not too shabby for range builds, and if you're curious to see how I got it done, I will link that in the comment section and the description. But that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed my take on the monorail build. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of this weapon? Do you guys think it's overpowered? Yes, we know about the sealed resin glitch that it currently has. It's going to be fixed in an upcoming patch, so that's why I'm not even going over it. But let me know your thoughts on monorail. Let me know your thoughts on this build. If you found this video enjoyable, informative, or you're just a kind soul, please consider giving it a like. It really helps my channel out. Please consider sharing it. Spread the word out there. Please consider subscribing if you have not done so already. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.